So here's a slightly alternative method to chipping, probably something different to what most of us were taught. So I've put a more traditional style of chipping on the left-hand side here, ball position slightly further back, the shaft length forward, slightly narrower stance, and probably a slightly open stance as well. Generally what you tend to see and where people struggle with this style of shot, and I'm not saying this is the wrong thing to do, I just personally feel there's probably a slightly more consistent way of doing it. But as the club comes back, what it generally tends to promote is a slightly steeper angle of attack, a slightly lower ball flight. I've just used an 8-iron here. And if I catch the ball, clean first, I can produce a nice shot. But what it brings into play is the leading edge of the golf club here. If I don't bottom the club out in exactly the right position, the leading edge will catch into the ground. We've all hit the ones where we duff the ball and it goes sort of 3 or 4 yards. Or if we catch the leading edge on the sort of equator of the ball shoots and finishes sort of 20 yards over the back of the green. We've definitely all hit those shots in our time. Okay, so for me on the on the right hand side here, I've gone with more of a square stance to the target, if that makes sense. My feet aren't pointing left of the target. I've moved the ball position more central and generally trying to feel it a lot more like a putting stroke. So if I move it in and put in these ones, so again you can see my original setup here again with the stance slightly left, and the biggest thing that I've changed really is the angle that I've got the shaft. So this would be sort of standard for a full length shot. The biggest change that I've made is I've made the golf club much more upright. Okay. What this enables you to do is the arc of the golf club, if you like, keeping it simple, will generally travel a lot straighter back and through. This one's obviously going to promote a little bit more of a rounded sort of arc, again, thus making it harder to judge where the bottom, where the club sort of bottoms out, if you like. So the biggest things really, ball more central, feeling you've got it like a putter. The shaft is almost off the ground, and being honest, you can go a little bit more than what I've done in this video. I'd generally look for almost the heel just slightly coming off the ground. The only other thing that I would do from here is just making sure that I just twist the club just slightly, so that the face is actually pointing just a couple of degrees left of target. It's to do with something called face plane tilt. I won't go into massive detail about that because it's not really applicable in terms of explaining it, but just feeling that face is just slightly closed when you're playing this shot. But you can see the shaft is nowhere near as pressed forward as the last one. Let's put it back on there. So you can see the two differences there. You can see I've got a lot more bend in my left elbow, whereas this one on the right hand side here is a lot straighter. So give it a go and let me know how you get on.